Om Namah Shivaya.
ॐ
ॐ
सदाशिवसमारम्भां
सदाशिवसमारम्भां
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
वन्दे
वन्दे
गुरुपरम्पराम्
गुरुपरम्पराम्
ॐ सहनाववतु
सहना भवतु
सहनौ
सहनौ
भुनक्तु
भुनक्तु
सह
सह
वीर्यं
वीर्यं
करवावहै
करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om.
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om.
So, in the last class, we were talking about the fact that there are four factors which are functioning. That is karma, devata, kala, and the character of the vastu, the vastu sabhavaha. And we saw that Shankaracharya says that the karma is the predominant factor, and devatas, etc., they are all the karakas. Devata, kala, vastu, sabhava, these are all subsidiary factors. And he said further that the karma kanda, when you study the karma kanda, you will find that the focus is on karma, not on the devata, or the kala, or the vastu, or the therefore he says that karma kanda is valid. Right? Now, Shankaracharya gives some more arguments over here. Up to this, we saw in the last class. Now, Shankara wants to support his statement that karma is the predominant factor. And the other three factors, that is Deva, Devatas, Kalas, and Vastu Swabhava, they are subsidiary factors. So, karma is Pradhanam, and Deva, Kala, and Devata, Kalaha, and Swabhava, Vastu Swabhava are Apradhanam. So, let us take these four factors. These four factors, what do they do? They influence all your experiences, and they have an influence on the future also. Now, supposing in any circumstances, there are four factors which influence people or experiences. And out of these four factors, we have to study and understand what is the unique factor which is not common to everybody, but which is specific to a person. In other words, out of the four factors, karma, devata, kala, and vastu sabhavaha, which factors are common to everybody, all people, and which factors are unique to people, right? Why do we make this study? We make this study because whatever factors are common to everybody, they cannot be the reason for any specific variation in my life, right? In other words, common factors will produce common results and cannot be held to be responsible for, the various situations which different people go through. For example, let us take a common example, right? You go into a room which you are not familiar with, and you find that there's a fan, there are two, three bulbs, there is a tube light, and there is a chandelier, and there are a number of switches on the board, right? How will you check which switch turns on the fan? What is the method? You will switch all the switches on one by one, and when you see that the particular one switch doesn't put on the fan, you switch it off and note in your head that this is not the switch, right? So until you come to the switch which is responsible for the fan coming on, and once you do that, then you know that this switch is responsible for this fan, right? Now, if you apply this logic here, I'll request you all once more, please keep yourself muted. Okay, because it is showing its effect on the recording, and that's not good. Unless you are speaking, please remain muted. Please keep a lookout on your mic symbol. If it is not muted, please mute that. Okay. Now, applying the previous logic, out of the four factors that influence our experience, Devata, Kala, Vastu Svabhava, and Karma, which are the factors which are common to all? Devata. Is Devata common to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Ishvara is common to everybody. Therefore, Ishvara is a common factor. And Ishvara's experience on a person's life has to be common. You cannot say that Ishvara is influencing my life negatively or Ishvara is influencing my life positively. So Ishvara is a common factor. That common factor has to influence commonly only, right? And what is the influence of Ishvara? There is compassion and there is anugraha, there is blessing. These have to be uniform and common for everybody. Why? Because for Ishvara, everybody is the same. What is the pramanam for this? Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshti dveshosti na priyaha. For me, everybody is the same. I do not dislike nor do I like a particular person. Krishna says where Samoham sarvabhuteshu name deshyosti na priyaha. You don't chant. Mantra, chapter number 9. And I don't think we have done Nisha Panchakam, but in that there is a Chandala who tells Shankara that there is no difference in the reflection of the sunlight in the Ganga and in the reflection of the sunlight in the dirtiest pool. That sunlight has to be compared to Ishvara, right? The differences belong to the pure Ganga water and the dirty cesspool, not to the sunlight. Similarly, whatever problems are happening in various people's lives, it is not because of Ishvara. Ishvara is not the variable factor at all. It is common factor. Now, that is the first variable factor. What is the second variable factor? Time, the Kala Tattva. Kala is uniform to everybody. This is March for me. It is not December for you, right? It is, if the temperature is 45 degrees for me in Ahmedabad, if you are in Ahmedabad, it will be 45 degrees for you too. So there is no difference in the Kala Tattva. Summer for me is summer for everybody in this particular area. Is it not? If the sun rises at 5:30 in the morning for me, if you are in India, the sun rises for you also at 5:30 in the morning. Therefore, Kala Tattvam is not a variable factor. Ishvara is not a variable factor. What about Vastu Swabhavaha, the character of an entity? If fire is hot for me, is it hot for you or cold for you?
I think same hot food
It is
for
hot for
all.
me, right? So Vastu Swabhava, the character of a entity, Vastu, is the same for everybody. And therefore, Vastu Swabhava is also not a variable factor. So these three factors, Ishvara, Kalaha, time, and Vastu Swabhavaha, the character of objects, they are the same for everybody. They are uniform for everybody. And what is uniform for everybody can never be the cause for differences in your experiences. Very important idea. A uniform Vastu, a force which is uniform in its operation for everybody, cannot be responsible for differences in your individual lives. Therefore, any difference in my life is therefore now due to what? Only due to karma, not through Ishvara, not through Kala, and not through Vastu Svabhava. What is left is only karma. And karma alone makes all the difference. Right? So, understanding should be clear. We are not saying that the common factors do not influence. Common factors also influence our experiences, but that influence is common across everybody. If there is a variation in my experience and your experience, that is not due to the common factor, it is due to karma alone. Therefore, Shankara says, because of this, karma is pradhanam, the predominant force, factor that decides how you go through your life. What are the experiences in your life? And because of that, who has done all the past karma? I have done. Therefore, I am responsible for my present. How? Through my past karma. And I am also responsible for my future. How? Through my present karma. And therefore, karma alone is predominant. Karma alone is pradhanam. If karma alone is pradhanam, then the unfortunate corollary is what? I alone am responsible for everything that is happening in my life. And if I alone am responsible for all my life's experiences, who should take charge of my life? Ishvara, Kala, Devata? Who should take charge of my life?
I need to take
Within.
my life.
I alone should take charge of my life. Therefore, Shastra says, never use an argument that nothing is in my hands. I am only an instrument and a puppet in the hands of Ishvara. Nothing moves without Ishvara's will. All these are illogical statements, irrelevant statements in the light of Shastra. And Shastra firmly rejects all these statements. You cannot say, I am a student of Vedanta, and then say, everything is in the hands of the Lord. Because you have just seen, Ishvara is the common factor. The common factor influences everybody in the same manner. So any problems that you are facing, any good times that you are going through is not because of Ishvara. It is because of your karma only. And therefore Shastra is saying that, Shankaracharya is saying that you put karma as predominant. And then you will realize that you have to take responsibility for your own life. And if you practice this attitude in Karma Kanda, where you say, I am responsible for everything that I do, my past, present, and future, then only later you can come to Vedanta and then you can say with confidence that I am the Lord of the universe. So Vedanta is trying to make us the Swami, the master. Swami literally means what? The one who is in control of himself and others, the master. Whereas if, like most people, I'm going to say, oh, I am a helpless person, everything is dependent on time, Vastu Sabhava and Devata, Ishvara, what are you? You are a dasaha, you are a slave. And if you have this attitude of I am the slave and he is the master, don't come to Vedanta because you will never understand the meaning of Aham Brahma Asmi. So any philosophy where Ishvara is predominant is a dasaha darshanaha, dasa philosophy, slave philosophy, slave and master philosophy, right? Only when you say karma is responsible, you are attuning your mind to Swami philosophy. And then you can come to Vedanta, right? You can write, you start with dasoham. Of course, you start with dasoham. But you have to drop the da in front and say soham. In fact, the word dasoham, You split as da and soham. Da in German means what? Yes. If you put German and English together or Sanskrit together, you get da soham. Yes, I am soham. I am all that there is. And who makes the choice? I make the choice. Right? So Shankara says, in the context of karma yoga, you should, if you have the attitude of being a slave, being a dasa, you should obey the commandment of the master, of the Lord. And what is the commandment of the Lord in Karma Kanda? Do nitya naimittika karma. Do not be fatalistic. Right? So the Lord here is what? Nothing but Dharma Shastram. Therefore, in Karma Kanda, if you are having a dasaha attitude, you are a servant. Who is your master? Dharma Shastram, the Veda, the Lord. And therefore, you have to follow Dharma Shastram. Then only Chitta Shuddhi comes. Then only you can come to Jnanam. That is the teaching of the Gita. Therefore, whenever somebody says Devas control our lives, you have to add one word in the middle. Then only it is Vedantic. What is that word? Ishvara controls your life. Yes. How? With what?
With our karma.
With your karma. So whenever somebody says Ishvara's, nothing moves without Ishvara's will, all those statements have to be reinterpreted by us by saying yes. But Ishvara controls by handing me the phalam, the results of my own karma. So with this, that very long mantra, 1, 4, 10 is over. Any questions? Okay. So let us go to the 11th mantra. First chapter, fourth section, 11th mantra. We will chant. So please unmute yourself. Brahmava idamagra asit.
ब्रह्मवादिदमग्रासीत्
Ekamev tadekam sannavibhavat.
एकमेव तदेकमसन् व्यभवत्
Tachreyo rupam atyasujat.
तच्छ्रेयो
सृजत
Kshatram yanetani devatra shatrani.
क्षत्रं
यान्येतानि
यान्येतानि देवत्रा
देवत्राणि
शस्त्राणि
Devatra shatrani.
देवत्रा
देवत्रा
शस्त्राणि
शस्त्राणि
Indro varunah somo rudraha.
इन्द्रो वरुणः सोमो रुद्रः
Parjanyo yamo mrityuh.
पर्जन्यो
पर्जन्यो
यमो मृत्युः
मृत्युः
Ishana iti.
ईशान इति
ईशान इति
Tasmat kshatrat param nasti.
तस्मात्
तस्मात्
क्षत्रात् परं नास्ति
परं नास्ति
Tasmat brahmanah.
तस्मात् ब्रह्मणः
Kshat- Tasmat brahmanah.
तस्मात्
तस्मात्
ब्रह्मणः
Kshatriyam adhastadupaste.
क्षत्रियमधस्तादुपास्ते
पास्ते
Rajasuye shatra eva.
राजसूये क्षत्र एव
Tadyasho dadati.
तद्यशो दधाति
Saisha shatrasya yonir brahma.
सैषा क्षत्रस्य योनिर्यद्ब्रह्मा
Yonir brahma.
योनिर्यद्ब्रह्मा
Tasmad yadapi raja parmatam gacchati.
तस्माद्यद्यपि राजा परमतां गच्छति
गच्छति
Brahmaivantata upanishyati.
ब्रह्मैवान्तमुपनिषयति
Brahmaivantata upanishyati.
ब्रह्मैवान्तत उपनिश्रयति
उपनिष्यति
स्वाम योनिम य एनम हिनस्ति
स्वां
योनिम्नाय इनं हिनस्ति
स्वाम स योनिमृच्छति
स्वां
मां स योनिमृच्छति
स पापीयान् भवति
तपापियान्
भवति
भवति
यथा श्रेयां स हिंसित्वा
यथा
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 श्रेयांश
श्रेयान्
हिंसित्वा
हित्वा
So we saw the Avidya Sutram in the last class, and this mantras are a expansion, a commentary on the Avidya Sutra. So how an Ajnani is addicted to Karma Kanda, and because of the addiction, how he is the person who is serving the Devatas, how he is the Devata Nam Pashu, that is being talked about. So when you are in Karma Kanda, there are two things which are very important: Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma. Varna Ashrama Dharma. Why? Because every karma that is prescribed in terms of your Varna Ashrama. If you belong to a particular Varna and a particular Ashrama, then a particular karma applies to you. That same karma may not be applicable to everybody else. Right? Therefore, here the discussion is on creation of the four varnas. So we don't ever use the word caste. Okay, there is no caste here. It's a varna. So varna srishti is being talked about. Now again, I am not going because the mantras are long and Upanishad is even longer. As far as possible, I am just explaining the word meanings. Right. If you want to have the I'm not explaining the word meanings, the mantra meanings. Individual word meanings we don't have the time for. If you need to know the meaning of an individual word later, just put it in the group and I will explain. So, initially, the Upanishad talks about the Varna Srishti, the creation of the Varnas among Devas themselves. Right? What are the divisions? Deva Brahmanaha, Deva Kshatriyaha, Deva Vaishya, and Deva Shudra. Right? Remember that in an earlier mantra, 146, the Upanishad that talked about Agni Srishti. Right? There we learnt that from Virat, Agni was the first creation. And how was that? If you remember, Virat put his hand in his mouth and churned. And due to the churning, there is no hair in the mouth inside the mouth, nor in the palm. Because by churning, there was Agni, and Agni burnt off the palms. This side, this completely smooth, there is no hair. Inside the mouth also, there is no hair. So we have to go back to that, and we are picking up from there. Right? Now Shruti says that this Agni Devata, who was born by this churning, which Virat did, that Agni Devata became the first Brahmana. So that means the Brahmana, this is the Brahmana Varna among the Devatas, not Brahman. Among the Devatas, Agni Devata is the Deva Brahmana. Right? So in the Swarga Loka, Agni Devata is supposed to be a priest, a Purohit. That's why, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the first mantra in the Rig Veda. So, Agnim Ile Puraha Itam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam Hotaram Ratna Dhatamam. Okay. Which means that when you chant that, you are praising Agni. Who is the Agni? The household priest. Right? And therefore you are the Ritvijam, the divine Ritvi, priest of the Yajna. And the Rigveda priest is what is he called? Hotaram. So he is the Hotaram. And the one who Ratna Dhatamam, the one who gives you Ratnas, treasures. And in this mantra, you will find that this Agni Devata is referred to by the word Brahma. Right? Now, what is the further interpretation? Agni Devata was a Brahmana. Right? But Brahmanas don't do anything, right? That is why you need other Varnas. Therefore, this Brahmana found that no work could be done, so he had to get other Varnas, with the help of other Varnas. What did he do? He created Kshatriya first. And who are the Kshatriyas? That is all there in the mantra. Indraha, Varunaha, Somaha, Rudraha, Parajanyaha, Yamaha, Mrityuhu, and Ishanaha. So all this group is the Deva Kshatriya. Right? Now, if you have a group, you need a leader. Therefore, Indra is the ruler of that group, of this Deva Kshatriya group. So, Indra is a Kshatriya. And after creating the Kshatriyas, the Agni Devata, who is the Deva Brahmana, he blessed all the Kshatriyas with the following things. Yashaha, glory. Niyantritvam, this is Aishwaryam, overlordship or power. And the power was given to the Kshatriya to be a ruler for the Brahmanas. But of course, the Kshatriyas need to respect the Brahmanas. And therefore, you will find that in the old days, even though the king was a ruler, whenever a Kshatriya entered the palace, the king rose up in respect. Even though he was the ruler of the Brahmanas, he is supposed to respect the Brahmanas. Now, also there is one more, nice corollary here. Deva Brahmana created the Kshatriyas. Therefore, he is as good as the father of the Kshatriyas. He is the father. And that is why any insult to a Brahmana, Varuna Brahmana, is supposed to be like insulting your own father. Right? And therefore, if you have a guru, you are supposed to worship the guru lifelong. So there is a Subhashitam. Ajivitam Trayam Sevyam Vedanto Guru Ishvaraha Adau Jnanaptaye Paschach Kritaghnatva Nivartaye. Ajivitam Trayam Sevyam. Ajivitam. As long as life is present, Trayam Sevyam, you should worship these three. What are they? Vedanta Guru Ishvaraha. Vedanta, Guru, and Ishvaraha. And what is the sequence? Adau Jnanaptaye. Before Jnanam, you worship the Guru as the one who will give you the Vedantic Jnanam. Paschat, after Jnanam, when you are Jivan Muktaha, you still continue to worship the Guru. Why? Kritagnatva Nivartaye. Kritagnatva means the ingratitude. Nivartaye, to avoid people saying that you do not have any gratitude to the person because of whom you became a Jivan Mukta. So everybody, remember, gets the same Atma Jnanam. Once you got Atma Jnanam, you are as good as your Guru. Because he is Atma, you are Atma. But at the Vyavaharika level, you have to respect your Guru lifelong. This is briefly what the mantra says. Any questions? Okay. We will go to the next mantra, which is the 12th one. Sanaiva Vyabhavat.
Sanaiva Vyabhavata
Savishama Asrajat.
Visham Asrajata
Yan etani devajatani.
Yanetani
Yani
devajatani
Devajatani
Ganasha Akhyayante.
Ganasha
Ganasha
Akhyayante
Akhyayante
Vasavo Rudra.
Vasavo Rudra
Aditya Vishwadeva Vishvedeva
Aditya
Aditya
Vishvedeva
Deva
Maruta iti.
Maruta iti
iti.
Okay, we saw that Agni Deva, the Brahmana, Deva Brahmana, who is Agni Devata, he created the Kshatriya Devas to assist and support the Brahmanas. Then Sanaiva Vyabhavat. The Deva Brahmanas discovered that they really could not do much. In spite of the Deva Kshatriyas having been created. So Sanaiva Vyabhavat doesn't mean Deva Brahmanas could not do anything like in the previous mantra. There Deva Brahmanas could not do anything because they had no support. But now the Deva Brahmanas created the Deva Kshatriyas. But in spite of that, they still couldn't do anything. So, na eva vibhavat. They could not do anything even with the support of the Brahmanas. So, mantra doesn't say, but Shankaracharya gives an explanation. He says, Deva Brahmanas are required to perform yajnas, right? Rituals, fire rituals. Now, if a yajna has to be performed, you need materials, you need ghee, you need milk, you need grains. And if all these are required, then we require somebody to produce them, somebody to maintain them, somebody to bring them over. Therefore, farmers are required. Therefore, we require someone to carry out all this activity. Therefore, he remembers Krishna. What does Krishna say? Rishir Gaurakshya Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Shuddhasyapi Swabhavajam. Where did you come across this? Come, guys. You are advanced. You are in the Brhdaranyaka Upanishad. Where did you come across this particular verse? Krishir Gaurijya Vanijyam Vaishyakarmya Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Shuddhasyapi Swabhavajam.
11. 11.
And first of all, in which text?
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. Which chapter?
11.
18th.
Is the 18th chapter. 18th chapter, 44th verse. Right? What does it say? Krishi Gaurakshya Vanijyam. Right? Keeping, doing farming, looking after cows, etc. is Vaishya karma. It is the karma which is to be done by a Vaishya. Therefore, farming, looking after cows, commercial activity. And therefore, the mantra says, Vishama Asrajata. Deva Vaishyas were now created. Right? And these are called Vasavaha, Rudraha, Adityaha, Marutaha, Vishwadeva. These are all the Deva Vaishyas, group of 5. And Ganasha Akhyayante. Ganasha Akhyayante means they are described in groups. So Vaishyas function in groups, not individually. And therefore the first one is what? Vasavaha. Vasavaha is how many, a group of how many? We have seen this before. Vasavaha is a group of 8.
8.
Rudraha is a group of
11.
11. Remember here, Rudra is not Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra. Okay. Rudra in this context is the Devagunas, is one of the Vaishya Devatas. And Aditya is how many?
12.
12. Aditya Dwadashaha. Right? And Vishwe Devas. So we don't know how many, but Shankaracharya in his commentary writes it can be 10, or we can take it as a very, very large group also. Marutaha we have seen in the Bhagavad Gita. Marutaha is a group of seven groups. Maruta Devatas are in 7 groups. And each group has 7 members. So totally Marutaha is 49.
49.
All this we have seen earlier. Okay. Not that you should not know. If you can remember, great. If you don't remember, it's okay. So then we go to the next mantra, 1, 4, 13. Sanaiva vyabhavat
तनैव व्यभवत्
सशौद्रम
सशौद्रम्
वर्णम अमृजत
वर्णम् असृजत
पूषणम इयं वै पूषा
पूषणम् इयं वै पूषा
इयं हीदं सर्वं पुष्यति
इयं हीदं सर्वं पुष्यति
यदिदं किंच.
यदिदं किञ्च
So look at the first three words. Sanaiva vyabhavat. What does it mean? That Brahmanas still could not function. Why? Because lot of physical work is involved in the conduct of the yajna, for which assistance is required, and it is not the job of the Vaishyas to carry stuff or bring stuff. And therefore, who was created? The Deva Shudras were created. Right? So, Pushnam, the word here, Pushnam, is the Pusha Devata, which is Deva Shudra. Okay. Now, we should avoid a confusion here. Normally, Pusha is a name used for which Devata?
Sun God.
Where do you find that? Very good. Correct one. Where do you find it?
Pushne Namaha. Somewhere.
Anybody has done Surya Namaskaras with mantras?
Yes, yes.
Earth
Right.
is also
So
Pusha.
this is Pusha is coming from there. So Surya Namaskara mantra. Therefore, normally Pusha is a name for Surya Devata. But Shruti says Iyam Vai Pusha. This Iyam is what? This Prithvi. This Prithvi Devata is the Pusha. Why? Hidam sarvam pushyati yadidam kincha. Pushnam is nourishing also. Therefore, he idam sarvam pushyati, because this Prithvi nourishes everything. How? By giving us annam. Yadidam kincha. Whatever is here, he idam sarvam pushyati. This Prithvi Devata nourishes. And therefore, Prithvi Devata is Deva Shudraha, called Pusha over here. Pusha here means that which nourishes, not the name for the Surya Devata. Therefore, now the four Varnas have been created. What are they? Deva Brahmanaha, Deva Kshatriya, Deva Vaishya, and Deva Shudra. So now we go to the 14th month.
Before we proceed,
Yes.
one small clarification is required, that the word sa shodram varnamasrujata, it is varnamasrujata.
Varanam Asrajata.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right. Now, we go to the 14th mantra. Sanaiva vyabhavat.
Tanaiva
Tanaiva
vyabhavat
Vyabhavat
Tachreyo rupam atyasajat.
Shreyo Rupam Atyasrajat
Dharmam tadetat kshatrasya.
dharmam
Tadetat
tasya
Kshatrasya
Kshatram yadharmaha.
kshatram
Kshatriyam
yadharma
Yadharmaha
Tasmat dharmat param nasti.
tasmat dharmat
Tasmat
param
Dharmat
nasti
Param
Param
Nasti.
Nasti
Atho abaliyan baliyam.
Atho
baliyam
Abaliyam
Samashamsate dharmena.
Samsasate Dharmena
Dharmena.
Yatha rajnaivam yo vai sa dharmaha.
Yatharagyavam
yo
Yo Vai
sadharma
Sadharmaha
Tat satyam vai tat.
satyam
Satyam Vai Tat
Tasmat satyam vadantamahu.
tasmat
Tasmat
satyam
Satyam
vadantam
Vadantamahu
dharmam vadati iti.
Dharmam
Dharmam
धर्मं
vadati.
वदति इति
Dharmam va vadantam satyam.
Dharmam
Dharmam va
धर्मं वा
vadantam
वदन्तं
satyam
सत्यं
Vadati iti.
vadati iti.
vadati
वदति
iti
इति
Etadyevaitad ubhayam bhavati.
Etat
etadvai
एतद्वैवैतत्
tad
bhavati.
भयं
ubhyam
भवति
bhavati.
So four varnas have been created. Then what? Sanaiva vyabhavat. Even then, the Brahmana could not do anything. Okay. Now, among the four varnas, the Kshatriya is the controller of all the other three, right? And therefore, Kshatriya is the most powerful. And Shankara in his commentary says that wherever there is power, there is the very strong possibility of what?
misuse.
Misuse of power and therefore corruption. Right? This week, all of us know. Shankara does not tell us that, but he just points out. And therefore, what is required? An anti-corruption bureau is required. Therefore, there should be somebody who is a controller of the Kshatriyas. Right? Therefore, tadetat Kshatrasya Kshatram. Kshatrasya Kshatram is what? The ruler of the Kshatriyas. And what is that? Taccheyo rupam dharmam atya sajat. So, the Dharma Devata Shreya Rupam Dharmam was created to control the Kshatriyas. Right? And when we say Dharmam, normally we take it as that which keeps the universe in harmony. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. But Shankara points out that don't take it as just the physical and moral laws. Right? Because when you say dharma, normally you can take it as physical laws of the universe and the ethical laws, the moral laws which govern the universe. But Shankara says don't take it just like that, but take it as the implementer of those laws, as the devata of all the laws of the universe, physical and moral. Right? So Tachshreyo Rupam. Dharma has the Rupam, the Swarupam of Shreyas, prosperity, goodness, auspicious, all these things, Mangalam. And if the Dharma Devata is not there to control the Kshatriyas, then the Kshatriyas who are rulers, they will become corrupt. And if the rulers are corrupt, then the other three Varnas will also become corrupt. And society generally will become corrupt. Therefore, Dharma is the controller of all the Kshatriyas. And therefore, among all the Varnas, there is Dharma also, and Dharma is the most powerful. And therefore, here the mantra says, Athaha, therefore, Abaliyan, the person who is not powerful, Baliyam Samashamsate, Dharmena Ragnivam. Even a man who is not powerful, who is not a strong man, can defeat Baliyan, can defeat the Kshatriya with the help of Dharma. Dharmena Ragnivam. A person who is not powerful, if he has Dharma, he can defeat the king also. Right? That is, if you see that, that is the very principle of justice. That even the lowest and most insignificant person in this country can go to the court to fight for justice. That is the first glory of Dharma. Then Satyam Vaitat Tasmat Satyam Vadanam Ahu. The second glorious part of Dharma is that it is very identical to Satyam. Dharma, it is said, is almost like Satyam. So how Shankaracharya gives in his commentary the definitions of Satyam and Dharma. So he says, Shastrartha Atvena, Shastrartha Vena, Nyayamanam Satyam. Knowledge is Shastra Arthatvena. Knowledge according to the Shastra. You can have lots of knowledge, but that Nyayamanam Satyam, that Satyam, that knowledge which is according to that which is taught by the Shastra. that knowledge is called Satyam. Okay, so very important definition. Shastra arthatvena nyayamanam Satyam. Knowledge which is taught by the Shastram. The exact translation is knowledge according to the Shastram is Satyam. And then Shastra arthatvena anushtiyamanam dharma. Acting in accordance with that Shastric knowledge, that is called dharma. Very, very beautiful definition. Knowledge taught by Shastram is Satyam. When your life is in accordance with that Shastric knowledge, then it is dharma. Therefore, Shankara says Satyam and dharma are the same. One is at the mental level, at the knowledge level, the level of the mind. And the other is at the implementation level, the action level. And therefore, elsewhere we saw Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. Where did we see this?
Taittiriya.
Taittiriya.
Taittiriya Upanishad.
So all this intertwined. That's why I said in the beginning that the Brhdaranyaka, it contains everything that all the other Upanishads contains. So it's a very, very good Upanishad to revise our earlier Upanishads. That's why we are taking it last, almost last. Okay, so etad vai tad ubhayam bhavati. Both Satyam, Dharmam are one and the same. So we have seen four varnas now, and Satyam and Dharma. 6 entities have been created. Okay, now we'll go to mantra number 15. Tadetad brahmashatram with Shudra.
तदेतद् ब्रह्मक्षत्रं विच्छूद्रः
Tadetad brahmashatram with Shudra.
तदेतद् ब्रह्मक्षत्रं
विच्छूद्रः
विच्छूद्रः
Tadagninaiva deveshu brahma abhavat.
तदग्निनैव
तदग्निनैव
देवेषु
देवेषु
अभवत्
अभवत्
Brahmano manusyeshu kshatriyena.
ब्राह्मणो मनुष्येषु क्षत्रियेण
Kshatriyo vaishena vaishyah.
क्षत्रियो वैश्येन वैश्यः
Shudrena shudraha.
शूद्रेण शूद्रः
शूद्रेण शूद्रः
Tasmad agnaveva deveshu.
तस्माद् अग्नावेव देवेषु
Lokamicchante brahmanoho manusyeshu.
लोकमिच्छन्ते
लोकमिच्छन्ते
ब्राह्मणे मनुष्येषु
ब्राह्मणेषु
एताभ्याम ही रूपाभ्याम ब्रह्म भवत्.
एताभ्यां हि
ब्रह्म अभवत्
रूपाभ्यां ब्रह्मभवत्
अथ यो हवा
तयो हवा
अस्माल्लोकास्त्वं लोकं दृष्ट्वा
अस्मात्
लोकं
लोकं
दृष्ट्वा
लोकमृष्ट्वा
प्रैतिस एनं विदितो
प्रैति स एनं
प्रैति स
विदितो
एवं विदितो
न भुनक्ति यथा वेदो वाननूक्तः
न भुनक्ति यथा वेदो वाननुक्तः
अन्यद्वा कर्मा कृतं यदिह
अन्यद्वा
अन्यद्
कृतं यदिह
वाप् अप्येन वं विन्
वाप्येन वं विन्
महत्पुण्यं कर्म करोति
महत्पुण्यं कर्म करोति
महत्पुण्यं कर्म करोति
तद्धास्यान् ततः शीयत
तद्धास्यान् ततः शीयत
एव आत्मानम् एव लोकम् उपासीत
एव
आत्मानमेव
आत्मानमेव लोकमुपासीत
स य आत्मानम् एवं लोकमुपास्ते
य
स य
आत्मानम्
आत्मानमेव लोकमुपासते
न ह्यस्य कर्म शीयते
न हस्य
न
कर्म
स्य
हस्य
क्षीयते
कर्म क्षीयते
अस्मादेवात्मनः
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 यद्यत् कामयते
यद्यत्
यद्यत्
कामयते
तत्तत् सृजते
तत्तत् सृजते
तत्सृजते
Okay, now what happens? Brahmaji now. Brahmaji, Ishvara, created Manushya Brahmanaha, Kshatriya Brahmanaha, Vaishya, sorry, Manushya Brahmanaha, Manushya Kshatriya, Manushya Vaishya, and Manushya Sudra. The four castes, the four Varnas among Manushyas were created. And how were they created? Tad Agninaiva Deveshu Brahma Abhavat Brahmanaha. So here, very important. Agni Devata himself became the Manushya Brahmana. So that is why Agni and Brahmana, the Brahmana Varna, is considered to be the same as Agni. Right? So that is why when Brahmana enters, Brahmana means Varna Brahmana, enters your house, the first thing in the Indian culture is to do what?
Namaskara.
To wash the feet.
You wash the feet, you offer water. You offer water because the Agni should not burn your house. Okay. So that's the reason why. In fact, if you remember Kathopanishad, when Nachiketas entered Yamadharma's place, it was said that Agni itself entered Yamadharma's place. Right? That's the reason. So the Shastric reason is that Agni Devata himself transformed into the Manushya Brahmana. Then the other Varnas were created, and therefore each of the four Manushya Varnas has a corresponding presiding Devata. Right? The Manushya Brahmana obviously is presided over by the Deva Brahmana, which is Agni Devata. For the Manushya Kshatriya, it is presided over by the Deva Kshatriya group. So Varuna, etc. The Manushya Vaishya is presided over by the Deva Vaishyas. Who are they? Marutaha, Varunaha, Rudra. And the Manushya Shudras are protected by the Deva Shudras. This is, the Shruti says, among the Varnas, the Brahmana is considered to be the most superior. And we saw in the fourth chapter that when you make this statement, that among the Varnas, the Manushas, the Brahmanas is the most superior Varna, we saw that is Guna Brahmana and not Karma Brahmana. All this we have seen. So at Devata level, Deva Brahmana is superior. At Manushya level, Manushya Brahmana is superior. And among the Devas, when you say Deva Brahmana superior, it means that Agni Devata is superior. Why? Because all the people have to invoke Agni Devata only for doing karma. All the Vaidika karma has to be done by invoking Agni Devata only for attaining higher lokas among the Devas. Okay. Then that is fine. Among the Devas, we can understand. But among the Manushyas, why is Brahmana superior? See the logic. Among the Devatas, the four Varanas of the Devatas, which we discussed, the Deva Brahmana is superior, and that means Deva Brahmana is Agni Devata. Therefore, it means Agni Devata is superior among all the Devatas. Why? Because all the Devatas have to invoke Agni Devata for doing the Vaidika karma. And what do you get by doing Vaidika karma? You get Punyam and you get in a higher loka. So that is as far as the Devatas are concerned. Then among the Manushyas, why do you say Brahmana is superior? So Shruti says that Brahmanas, the Varna Brahmanas, can get higher loka without depending upon Agni. A Brahmana does not have to do Agni rituals. So how do you say that? So Shankara quotes a shloka from from some smriti. I don't know where exactly it comes from. It says, Japyenaiva hi samsiddhyet brahmano natra samshayaha. Japena eva. By japa alone, japa anushtanam alone, the brahmana can get the higher loka. Samsiddhyet. Brahmanaha. So you can rearrange that. Brahmanaha japena eva samsiddhyet na atra samshayaha. There is no doubt about the fact that Brahmanas can get higher lokas with the help of japa only. They don't have to do Agni rituals. And that is why it is said that the Gayatri japa is very, very important. And therefore, even if you give up the Agni karma, the Brahmana who does Gayatri gets the higher lokas. And it is said somewhere that a Brahmana who does not do Gayatri japam regularly, he is not worthy of being called a Brahmana. The Brahmanatvam status itself he loses. Therefore, other Varnas have to depend upon Agni. Brahmanas can get higher lokas without the help of Agni. Therefore, Brahmana is superior. And of course, there is a second reason. Brahmane manushyeshu etabhyam hi rupabhyam brahma abhavat. That is also there in the mantra that Brahmana is the first created. Among the Manusyas, Brahmana is the first created because Agni Devata himself became the Manusya Brahmana and therefore Brahmanas are superior. Okay. Now, you can have a question. If I can get higher loka by depending upon Agni, right? Why can't I get moksha by depending upon Agni? The answer is very simple. Only through jnanam one gets moksha, not through any karma. And therefore there is here one part of the mantra. Atha yo hava asman loka praiti. The person who indeed departs from this world, who dies and who sukshma shariram departs from the world, swam lokam adrishtva. So swam lokam has to be taken as atma jnanam. Swam lokam adrishtva, without getting atma jnanam. The word lokam normally means field of experience. But in Sanskrit dictionary, you will see loka has two meanings. One is the object of the experience and one is the subject of the experience. So in this Upanishad, in Brhd Upanishad, very often you will find that the word loka is used as the subject of the experience, which is what? Atma itself. And therefore Swam Lokam is Atma. Swam Lokam Adrishtva. Without getting Atma Jnanam, he who departs from this world. So therefore Swam Lokam indicates the fact that he has, Adrishtva. Swam Lokam Adrishtva indicates that he has departed from this world without understanding Atma Jnanam. He is not protected from samsara. He will be caught up in the birth-death cycle. And the Shruti is saying that Atma alone protects a person from samsara. Right? And sa enam avidito, the one who does not know the Atma, na bhunakti, that Atma cannot protect. That is clarification necessary because everybody is Atma. Right? So if Atma protects me, why does it not protect everybody else? So that's the answer. Sa enam aviditaha. The one who does not know the Atma is not protected by the Atma. Therefore, Atma protects a person when one knows that the Atma is me only. Right? We saw in Taittiriya also. Vidvanna vibheti kadachana. A jnani has no fear at all. Therefore, Brahman is abhaya karanam. And we also saw tatveva bhayam vidusho amanamanasya. Brahman alone is the bhaya karanam, the cause of fear also for the person who has not understood. Right? So how can that very same Brahman be both Bhayakaranam and Abhayakaranam? That we know. The unknown Brahman is Bhayakaranam. The known Brahman is Abhayakaranam. The unknown Brahman is the cause of fear. The known Brahman is the cause of fearlessness. The unknown rope is the cause of fear because it appears as a snake. The known rope is the cause of fearlessness because you know that a rope cannot bite you. Right? So with this, we'll stop today. Any questions?
So Acharyaji, when you said Japena iva brahmana samsiddhetana atra samshayah,
Yeah.
so that refers to the guna brahmana.
That refers to the Guna Brahmana. You can take it as any Brahmana because Brahmanas have the the duty to chant Gayatri regularly. That is part of their mandatory duties. The Varana Ashrama duty.
Achaji, thanks.
Sir, so the japa also works for Manushya Kshatriya?
Japa gives you punyam definitely. While it says so here, in terms of in the Veda, the others have to do Vedic karma also. If you want enough punyam to take you to a higher loka, the Brahmana need not do the Vedic karma, but the other three varnas have to do the Vedic karma. Right? Your logic will not apply because the whole thing is based on instructions in the Veda. So you cannot ask, how is it that the Brahmana can go to higher loka without karma, but I can't. You can't because the Shruti says so.
Oh, sir.
Yeah.
Vyavahara question, but the Brahmana or the priest does invoke Agni, no, for a
He's
yajna.
doing it for you
So that's what I wanted to ask. He's doing it for the
as an
others,
agent. He's doing it as an agent.
Yajamana and whoever else is. Okay. Yeah, got it.
So with this, we'll stop for today.
But one more question then, coming
Yes.
from the reply
Yeah.
that you gave, that Brahmana cannot, if he performs Agnihotra for himself, or he can perform only Agnihotra for on behalf of others, Yajmana only.
No. He can do for himself also. But he need not. The idea is that by pure japa, he can get to higher loka. He need not do the Vedic karma. The others have to do.
Okay. So Vedic karma are not mandatory for a Brahmana.
Nor for a Brahmana.
He can do only japa and...
yeah, that is why Brahmanas can renounce and become sannyasis.
Okay. Thank you.
Om Purnamada
Purnamada Purnamidam
Purnamudachyate
Purnasya
Purnamadaya
Purnameva
Vasishyate
Vasishyate
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Shanti
Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Om